In the annals of human history, few events are as dark and haunting as the Holocaust. It stands as a stark reminder of the depths to which human cruelty can sink, a period of systematic state-sponsored genocide unparalleled in its scale and brutality. Our purpose today is not to shock or distress but to remember and learn. We seek to understand the Holocaust in its horrifying detail, to ensure that such atrocities are never repeated. We aim to honor the memory of the 6 million Jewish victims, along with the countless other individuals who suffered under the Nazi regime. This exploration demands a level of sensitivity, as we will be discussing some deeply distressing historical events. Such a journey is not taken lightly, but with the utmost respect for those who endured these unimaginable horrors. As we embark on this journey of remembrance, let us proceed with respect and sensitivity, for it is only through remembering that we can hope to learn, and ultimately, to prevent such a catastrophe from ever happening again. The seeds of the Holocaust were sown in a time of great political and social turmoil. This was a period of profound change not just in Germany but across Europe. The aftermath of the First World War left Germany in a state of economic ruin and political instability. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, placed the blame for the war squarely on Germany's shoulders, demanding hefty reparations that further crippled the already weakened nation. This climate of discontent, combined with long-standing anti-Semitic sentiments, provided the perfect breeding ground for the rise of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, more commonly known as the Nazi Party. The Nazis, led by Adolf Hitler, capitalized on the nation's unrest, promising economic recovery, national pride, and a scapegoat for their troubles, the Jews. Once in power, the Nazis wasted no time implementing their vision for a racially pure Germany. A series of laws known as the Nuremberg Laws were enacted in 1935, stripping Jews of their rights as citizens, banning marriages between Jews and non-Jews, and effectively isolating Jews from the rest of society. Propaganda played a crucial role in the Nazis' rise to power and the implementation of their policies. Through the use of media, the Nazis disseminated anti-Semitic messages, dehumanizing Jews and reinforcing their image as the enemy. This propaganda served to normalize the prejudice and discrimination, paving the way for the atrocities that were to follow. As the Nazi regime tightened its grip on Germany, the persecution of Jews and other marginalized groups escalated. What began with discriminatory laws and propaganda soon morphed into a state-sponsored campaign of violence and intimidation, culminating in the infamous Kristallnacht, or Night of Broken Glass, in 1938. Thus began a grim chapter in human history, marked by unprecedented persecution. This marked the transition from discrimination and segregation to a systematic campaign of extermination, setting the stage for the horrors of the Holocaust. With the Nazi regime in power, the systematic dehumanization of Jews and other groups began. This period was marked by the creation of ghettos and concentration camps, profound symbols of the Holocaust's brutality. The ghettos were essentially city districts transformed into prisons, where Jews were forced to live in incredibly harsh conditions. Overcrowding was the norm, with multiple families often crammed into a single room. Food was scarce, sanitation was poor, and disease was rampant, leading to high mortality rates. The ghettos were not just a means of segregation, they were a calculated effort to weaken and dehumanize their inhabitants. Meanwhile, the Nazis were expanding their network of concentration camps across Europe. Initially, these camps were intended as detention centers for political dissidents and other undesirables. However, their purpose evolved into something far more sinister with the progression of the Holocaust. The names of these camps, Auschwitz, Treblinka, Dachau, and others, are now synonymous with the atrocities committed by the Nazi regime. They were not simply prisons but factories of death, designed to exterminate people on an industrial scale. Prisoners were subjected to forced labor, medical experiments, and most horrifyingly, mass murder. Auschwitz, the largest and most notorious camp, was constructed with the chilling precision of a death factory. It had gas chambers disguised as shower rooms, where unsuspecting victims were led to their deaths. It is estimated that more than 1 million people were killed in Auschwitz alone. Treblinka and Dachau, among others, followed a similar pattern, each serving as a cog in the Nazis' extermination machine. The scale and efficiency of these camps were a testament to the chilling depths of human cruelty. These ghettos and concentration camps represented the darkest side of humanity. They were places where dignity was stripped away, where individuals were reduced to numbers, and where life was disregarded. These were places of despair, where hope was a scarce commodity. However, amidst the darkness, there were glimmers of resilience, of the human spirit refusing to be extinguished, which we will explore in the next scene. In January 1942, a chilling decision was made at the Wannsee Conference. This gathering, held in a grand villa on the outskirts of Berlin, marked an ominous turn in the course of the Holocaust. 15 high-ranking Nazi officials convened to discuss with a chilling bureaucratic efficiency the final solution to the so-called Jewish question. It was here that the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews was meticulously planned. The Wannsee Conference was a testament to the horrifying depths to which humanity can sink when blinded by hatred and prejudice. It was not a debate but rather a coordination meeting where the logistics of mass murder were discussed and streamlined. The extermination was planned with an almost industrial precision. Jews from across Europe were transported in cattle cars to concentration and extermination camps. There they were subjected to a process of dehumanization and brutality that is difficult to comprehend. Upon arrival, the victims were sorted. Those deemed unfit for work, the elderly, the sick, children, were sent straight to gas chambers disguised as shower rooms. Their lives were extinguished with a cold, calculated efficiency that is a chilling testament to the depths of human cruelty. Those who survived the initial selection were forced into slave labor, under conditions designed to kill through overwork, malnutrition, and disease. The Nazis even exploited the victims' deaths, with belongings and bodies turned into commodities. Gold fillings were extracted from the mouths of the dead, hair was used to make textiles, and ashes were used as fertilizer. The implementation of the final solution was a horrifyingly efficient system of industrialized death. It stands as a stark reminder of the unimaginable horrors humans are capable of inflicting upon one another. Humanity was brought to the brink, as the machinery of genocide was set in motion. The Holocaust serves as a grim testament to the devastating consequences of unchecked hate, prejudice, and indifference. It underscores the urgent need for remembrance, education, and vigilance to ensure that such atrocities are never repeated. In the face of unimaginable horror, there were those who dared to resist. Resistance against the atrocities of the Holocaust came in many forms. Despite the overwhelming fear and despair, many found courage to fight back. They resisted not only through armed uprisings, but also through preserving their culture, their faith, and their humanity. In ghettos and concentration camps across Europe, brave souls took up arms. The Warsaw Ghetto Uprising is perhaps the most well-known. For nearly a month, Jews in the Warsaw Ghetto fought back against the Nazis, showing the world their determination and courage. In Sobibor and Treblinka, prisoners staged daring escapes, while others resisted through sabotage, slowing down the machinery of death. But resistance was not only physical. Some Jews resisted by maintaining their religious practices, others by creating art, music, and literature. They resisted by holding on to their identities in the face of an oppressor seeking to obliterate them. They resisted by simply surviving, each day a testament to their resilience. Meanwhile, the world watched. Initially, the global response was marked by disbelief and denial, with many unable or unwilling to comprehend the scale of the atrocities. But as evidence mounted, the Allies could no longer ignore the reality. In December of 1942, the Allies issued a joint declaration, confirming the mass extermination of European Jews and vowing to punish those responsible. Nevertheless, the world's reaction was slow and often criticized for its lack of immediate action. It was not until the tide of the war began to turn that the Allies started to take substantive action against the Holocaust. Bombing raids targeted rail lines and bridges, disrupting the Nazis' ability to transport victims to the camps. In the end, the Holocaust is a stark reminder of both humanity's capacity for evil and its potential for courage, resilience, and resistance. It shows us that even in the darkest hours, the human spirit fought back, and the world eventually took notice. The dawn of 1945 brought with it the end of a nightmare. As the Allied forces advanced, they came upon the concentration camps, the horrific epicenters of the Holocaust. Each discovery was a shocking revelation of the inhumanity that had been perpetrated. Stumbling upon these camps was often unexpected for the soldiers. The scenes they encountered were beyond comprehension. Emaciated survivors, skeletal and barely clinging to life, met their liberators with a mixture of relief, disbelief, and an overwhelming sense of trauma. The soldiers bore witness to the inconceivable atrocities, the remnants of lives brutally extinguished, and the survivors clinging desperately to existence. The liberation, however, was only the beginning of a long journey towards healing and justice. Many survivors, now displaced persons, faced the daunting task of rebuilding their lives, often in new countries, as they bore the deep physical and psychological scars of their experiences. In the immediate aftermath, the world grappled with how to hold those responsible accountable for their heinous crimes. The answer came in the form of the Nuremberg trials. Initiated in November 1945, these were a series of military tribunals held to prosecute prominent leaders of Nazi Germany. They were unprecedented in their scope and scale, representing an international effort to deliver justice. The Nuremberg trials were significant not only for punishing the perpetrators but also for establishing a record of the Nazi regime's atrocities. The meticulous documentation, testimonies, and investigation provided undeniable evidence of the genocide, making a monumental contribution to the historical record of the Holocaust. Yet, even as justice was meted out, it was clear that no verdict could ever truly compensate for the immense loss and suffering. The trials were a necessary step, but they could not erase the horrors that had transpired. Justice was sought, but the scars of the Holocaust remained, indelible and haunting. The liberation and the aftermath of the Holocaust serve as a stark reminder of our collective responsibility to remember, to understand, and to ensure that such atrocities are never repeated. Remembering the Holocaust is not just about honoring the past. It's about shaping our future. It's about understanding the depths to which humanity can sink, but also the heights of courage and resilience it can reach. It's about recognizing the seeds of hate and intolerance, and doing everything we can to prevent them from taking root again. Education plays a crucial role in this process. The Holocaust didn't start with the gas chambers. It started with words, with propaganda, with the dehumanization of a people. And that's why it's so essential to educate ourselves and others. There are many resources available for this educational journey. Museums like Yad Vashem in Israel and the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum offer deep insights. Online platforms provide a wealth of information, from survivor testimonies to historical analyses. In remembering, we educate. In educating, we ensure never again is more than just a phrase. As we conclude, let us remember the millions of lives lost during the Holocaust. These were mothers and fathers, daughters and sons, friends and neighbors. Each one had a story, a life full of dreams and potential, cruelly extinguished. We honor them not just in remembrance, but in action. The Holocaust stands as a stark reminder of the depths humanity can sink when prejudice and hatred go unchecked. It is our responsibility, individually and collectively, to ensure these atrocities are never repeated. This begins with education, understanding, and empathy. Seek out sources of knowledge. Visit museums and memorials. Read books and first-hand accounts. Engage in conversations that challenge prejudice and promote tolerance. In doing so, we honor the memory of those who perished in the Holocaust. We ensure their stories continue to resonate, teaching us to value every human life. May their memory be a beacon guiding us towards a future of understanding and acceptance.